Welcome back to PSVG's Game Tech, the show where we talk about all the Ks, flops, Ps, and HDRs. It is I, your host, Dat Ninja Dev, and I'm joined, as usual and as always, by the eater of the hype, Mr. Donnie Reese. How are you feeling this evening?
Greetings, Koopalings. How's everybody doing? Excited?
Can't complain. Can't complain. You know, I'm chilling. I'm happy to be
so
here.
Excited.
So excited to talk to you guys.
It's a late
Good
night
stuff. Yeah. Sometimes you got to do it late, you know? Stupid time zones and family things.
Dude, the
It
time
happens.
zone.
I'm sorry.
The time zone issues killed like all of my plans.
What plans?
I mean, just like any plans that I have of like resurrecting a pod where me and you and other people talk together. It's like your time zone just ruin it.
Well, first of all, you stay up till 3 a.m.
Oh, it's not a me issue. It's a
We don't have to go
you
live.
and everybody else issue. That's the issue.
See, we can just record, late night. If we're both up, we can just hop on and record.
Just the two of
Stay
us.
up late with Dev and Don.
Just say it. That's the show right there.
It sounds amazing.
That other voice you hear is the Bland Explosion himself. Mr. Garrett Bland, how are you today?
I'm very energized. I just worked out and I'm feeling good right now. You know, it's that after workout feeling. You know, I'm ready to talk about everything Game Tech tonight.
Well, we're going to do that and more. But mainly, we're here to talk about something that was recently announced that I know has you two both in a tizzy.
Yeah,
And that is the Valve Stream Deck.
Stream Deck. Did you just say Stream Deck?
I
did.
what everybody's doing.
Oh no, this ain't Elgato. Come on now.
I mean,
Elgato wishes.
Elgato also released a bunch of awesome stuff, but
No.
I know you guys don't care about any of that. But a lot of it is
Overpriced
really
crap.
good
That's
stuff.
what it is. Yeah.
It's the same price as everything else, actually.
Oh, okay.
Like the webcams that they released, same price as the Razer Kiyo, but very good tech. It's good stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, the Steam Deck. It's coming soon. I believe it's shipping in December.
It's starting to.
Ish.
Like you'll be able to order it maybe
Ish?
around there. I don't know. They're very vague about it. We'll see.
Yeah. When did you guys get yours supposed to be coming? 'Cause I know there's all these different release dates and pushing them out to certain people at certain times. So when did you guys get yours?
I think mine is set for Q1 2022.
Okay.
So I should
mine-
probably be in that second wave, I think.
And mine's
Okay.
Q2 2022.
Yeah, and I think that's actually where I want to be because I'm very excited and I'm very eager and I'm looking forward to buying one, but I have a lot of questions.
Yes.
And I have like I need a lot of answers before I actually put the credit card down and actually get it. Because
Exactly.
I bought one of the Steam machines. I think it's something you hear a lot of the gaming podcasts talk about, like Steam machines. I'm like, well, Steam machine, that was a failure. Like I bought one of those. So I've been there, done that, and kind of seen it. So I'm hoping that this is better off than that. I think it is, but
I think it is too.
I need to know. I need to know.
Yeah. Before we get into all your questions and all of that good stuff about what you want it to do, let's talk a little bit about what it is.
Sure.
So basically, it's a portable PC. It looks like a Game Gear, more like the Switch form factor without the removable Joy-Cons. It's got 2 sticks, 2 trackpads, face buttons, D-pad, rear mappable buttons for all of you FPS aficionados, as well as your triggers on top. There are 3 different models. They come in at $399, $529, and $649. Each of those has a different storage option, with, of course, the lowest price one being the worst and slowest type of storage possible for this. I don't know what
Don't
they
hit
were
that
thinking of there, but yeah, don't do that.
That
Just if you can avoid it,
eMMC, that's what's holding
don't
the
do it.
Switch back.
yeah.
Yeah, don't get that.
It's not a good move. Just if you can, just save a little bit more extra money and go for the bigger one that actually has a true NVMe, and you'll see improvements as you see with all of our next gen consoles. They all have NVMe drives, and you see how fast the loading is there. With all the new games, that's what you want. You do not want to have this older, slow storage. You're going to run
As
into
more
all
and more
kind of
games
issues.
require SSDs moving
Yeah.
forward and are built and optimized to take advantage of that. You don't want to not be on that playing field.
Yeah, absolutely. So the demos that they showed, they were demoing it with Control, Jedi Fallen Order, and Portal 2 at medium to high settings, and they were getting around 60 FPS on a 720. No, it's not 720. It's 800p.
It's
An
a
800 resolution screen in 7
right.
inches.
Yeah. So this thing could possibly be, the next, handheld movement. It truly has the ability to do that, especially with the specs they have and the fact that it's going to be integrated in the Steam Deck, and if you are integrated into Steam, and if you can actually get any of your other libraries on there or emulation, this thing is going to be an absolute beast. It's rocking an AMD Zen 2 CPU with 4 cores and 8 threads. The closest comparison we could have really is the Series S, which is running 8 cores, 16 threads. It's actually got a newer gen processor running the AMD custom RDNA 2 GPU, running at variable between 1 to 1.6 gigahertz, which is going to give you about 1 to 1.6 teraflops of power. It's also running 16 gigabytes of LPDDR RAM, DDR5 RAM, which is pretty standard for most PCs. Pretty much any PC that's a gaming PC is going to be running at the very least about 16 gigs of RAM, so that all clocks out. It is more RAM than you would find on any of the consoles, which is also very interesting. The display is 7 inches. Like I said, it runs at 800p resolution, 60 hertz, and 400 nits. So it'll be pretty bright.
16 by 10 aspect ratio.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
So it's a little
Nice widescreen.
yeah. I know there was some concern with like letterboxing, but I've been looking around and sleuthing around. It seems to be 16 by 10 and seems to be a widely supported thing going on Steam. So most of your Steam games should be able to do that fairly well.
Yeah. One downside, it is only a 40 watt hour battery, so you're looking to get 2 to 8 hours of gameplay. So it's not going to be, the
2.
longest lasting.
You're gonna get 2. You're gonna get 2. Like the battery is just gonna go fast.
If you're playing something like Control, you're gonna get like 2 hours on that. But if you're playing like emulated stuff, older games that aren't as graphic intensive, you might be able to get,
I wonder
maybe
if you plug
4
in
to 8
to an external battery, like can it still
can.
hold? But can it hold? Like, are you just gonna drain slower, or can it actually just hold?
I think it could hold just because of USB-C. If you got fast charging stuff in there with a good charging battery, like the latest ones, not like older ones, I think it can hold certain games for sure.
2 hours is about as light as I can go.
Yeah.
Like on the lowest, like that's about as low as I can go. But with an external battery, like I think I'd be okay. Because I don't think I'm ever going to be playing a game away from a charger or possibility of being charged, for longer than 2 or 3 hours.
Same. I always have an external battery ready to go with
Same.
my Switch
Yep.
on travel too. So
You guys are very versed in the portable ways.
Be
of
prepared.
course. Of course.
It's also rocking full Bluetooth 5.0. It has 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi and is running a new custom Steam OS using the Proton compatibility layer from Valve that allows Windows games to run on Linux.
Yeah.
So that is the full specs rundown of this beast of a handheld.
Let's pause. You get the eMMC, $400. You get the 256 SSD, $529. Or you go all the way up, you get the 512 SSD with the anti-glare screen and all the little bells and whistles for $650. That's a lot of tech to put into a handheld at any of those prices. Like
Those
for
are-
what you're getting,
yeah.
and correct me if I'm wrong, but like if you're looking at like the Win devices and some of the other ones, like Dev, you've seen the Alienware. You put your hands on that. Those are routinely $1,000, $1,200,
Yes.
$1,400. They've like come in at higher spec than most of those. Especially, I don't think any of the consumer readily available ones come in at better spec than this.
Nope.
They've come in at better spec at half the price.
Pretty
Wow.
much.
Yeah. They are really taking a bath on the price with this, but I believe they just believe in it enough to like it's gonna sell. And if you were there trying to get a pre-order, you saw that these things
Dude,
went
Steam crashed.
It did. Yeah.
I never would have imagined that Steam was on fire for a minute. They took the website, like the public facing website down. Like you had to be on the actual application to be trying to get through. I mean, Steam was on fire. It was nuts.
Yeah, I mean, you got to imagine all the people who were actually trying to pre-order, all the bots, all the measures they were taking to try to circumvent those bots and resellers and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pandemonium. But I mean, that's been every pre-order for the past year and a half. Like,
I really struggled getting mine. It
I
took
was
me
surprised.
a good hour. Like I felt like I was way behind everybody. Everybody got through but me. It seemed like in PSVG land it was very.
I saw that. Yeah.
Very similar things seem to happen with the Switch OLED. Like I'm starting to worry, like if I'm forgetting to do something or I don't know the ways.
Losing your magic. That's what's happening.
Where I
It's
live.
your Comcast internet. That's what it is.
Is it the new internet? Like
It's the new internet.
Yeah, I'm sitting there and everybody's like, "I'm good, I'm good," and I'm like, "What the hell's happening? I'm not good. Like I am not getting through." Man. All right. So before we get into any of those highlights, let's talk about the specs for a minute.
Yeah.
Comparably in teraflops to like your original PS4. However, teraflops don't tell the whole tale, as we know here in Game Tech land, preparing for next gen, that those teraflops from last gen don't tell the tale of the bottleneck that those that the processors had, right? The bottlenecks on the CPU really held those back in terms of performance, not graphical output. The GPUs are fine. Performance. And you're seeing those old CPUs, you're seeing a lot of 30, maybe, kind of 30. I was talking to some people today about Dying Light, and they're like, I played it on PS4, it was fine. I was like, but was it? It was 10.
Go back to it now.
25-ish. Like, was
Yeah.
was it fine? It was fine for the time, but it's not fine. We want more than that. And I believe if you look at because I've seen this actually spun two different ways. I've seen people say, the CPU is from 2019, is a little older. And I've seen some people say, like, it's kind of under spec. It probably won't hold up for the next year or two. And it makes me, I'm going the opposite way as I look at this when you compare it to the next gen consoles. And for a 720p output target,
Exactly.
it's exactly like it's completely on par. Like the pixels per inch that this thing will push will rival that of the Series X for the handheld. Now, if you're trying to play this as a docked PC into your 4K display, like it's underpowered for that. It's not going to do that. Maybe with the rise of, I don't know, Fidelity FX or something, like maybe they can find some magic to kind of boost the performance. But I think docked, you're looking at 1080p 60 is maybe the high end. But even then, doing that in a portable PC that you bought for $600, that actually is kind of an achievement. Like that's also something to be impressed by, because you're not going to be able to get that performance out of like a gaming laptop for the same amount of money.
No, not at all.
That's true. That's true.
Not even close. Not even
This
close.
is the most powerful handheld ever, and it's exactly what I wanted Valve to do in this. They put so much thought into what could output in a handheld wise, and how can easily put like their Steam OS and Steam library, everything into this and make it as smooth as possible. And I can't wait to see what the reviews are, what the performance is like on these AAA games, what my library is going to feel like, what's the battery going to be like. So I'm very excited for this thing.
I'm excited that it exists.
Here we are. We're all excited buying PCs. Dev has zero hype.
First of all, you're not buying a PC.
No,
As
we're
far
buying
as
PCs.
It is. It is a
You're buying-
PC.
You're buying a handheld
I'm gonna
device.
put
It's not a
Windows
not a
on
PC.
it.
You
Just
can
to
load
do it.
Windows.
Just to do it.
You can load Windows.
Right.
I like you've been saying. I think Windows 11, from what they're trying to do with it, it might run really, really well on this.
Yeah.
Because it's adopting like what they were trying to do with Windows 8, where it was also meant for more of a handheld like device or touch device. So I really think that Windows 11 has a very good chance of running very well on this for people who want to go ahead and tinker and do all kind of sorts of different things with it, like make it a Game Pass machine like Donnie wants to do.
Yeah. I'm so
We'll see.
excited for that. I'm so excited. I mean, that is first and foremost. That's the reason why I want to buy it. Is if I have to wipe it and put Windows, I would prefer not to. I'm actually really impressed with the Steam OS tutorial that they've given out. They released a new video today with IGN that really kind of shows their OS a bit more. Like it looks great. It looks like a console. I would love to hear that like the Game Pass app is working with Proton. I will even wait a little bit before deciding to wipe it or not for hopes that maybe they figure it out after launch. Like I'm happy to just run like streaming. I'll do it through the browser while I wait for them to fix it. But I would rather it work natively with the Steam OS as opposed to having to dual boot or wipe it altogether. But if I have to, I will, because that was the first thing I thought of when this announcement came through. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be able to download all my Game Pass games and actually play them on the go for real. Like it's the Switch that I've always wanted. Like that's exactly what I want. So I'll wait. I'm not planning to do it the day that I get my hands on a Steam Deck, but I won't wait too long. If they can't figure it out, then I'll do it myself. And hopefully Windows 11 might be the bridge to getting where I want to go.
I
When
wonder
do
if they
they?
would do something like a paid app to run
I'd pay for it.
Game Pass. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sure.
I would too. I mean,
Sure.
it makes sense, but I'm wondering if they're thinking of maybe doing that, where that way Valve somehow is able to monetize it. You know?
I don't expect Microsoft to change the way they do business. Like Microsoft is Windows. They're not going to, make any widespread changes to their app. But I do think it's possible that maybe Xbox engineers can give Valve the information needed to make it compatible with Proton. Like maybe if they run into an issue with it and they're like, we can't get past these hurdles, like maybe they can help them get it compatible. Maybe. I don't know if that's hoping for too much or not.
I don't know, because they got a lot of Microsoft games on Steam as well, and there's like,
That's what I'm thinking.
for the people who wants to play Microsoft games, I mean, you got it right on Steam, and you can just play it right over there.
You gotta
When
buy
do
it
you
again.
when do you think Windows 11 is coming out? What's the schedule like?
It
for
comes
that?
out this year. It comes
It
out
does?
like October.
There's so many
I
people that
had
already
no
have it.
idea.
It's already out.
Yeah, it's
Technically,
already
it's out. I can't get it on my system because of the way I have my system set to boot. So I did back up my system to an SSD to be able to restore it once I go into the BIOS and change it so I can actually do Pixie boot basically. So once I change all of that, I'm probably going to reload it and download Windows. I'm on the insider track, so I usually get all the updates early, so that way I can test out and fool around with Windows 11. But yeah, it's technically already out. It's still a preview build, but it's supposed to be full live view. It's supposed to go out in October, I believe.
Cool. I didn't realize it was so quick.
Yeah.
Also, I wonder, like, could they do some sort of user authentication with Steam where you could tie your Steam profile with your Game Pass profile and maybe let you play the Xbox release versions on Steam via your Game Pass membership? Is that going too far? Like, if I'm a Game Pass subscriber, could I link those profiles together with a simple API, and all of a sudden it just lets me download Halo Infinite from Steam?
See, that's the thing. Like, that'd be great for consumers, but again, like, how does Valve make money off that? Like, I look at it from, like, if I'm Valve,
I look at the opposite. I'm like, how does
I would
Xbox
like,
work? But yeah, sure.
I would like to be able to have all that working, but how does that benefit my company in the end? How does that benefit Steam? How does that benefit
It's got
Valve?
people using
But
Steam. I can answer that question. The question is, you've got somebody like me who is currently not using Steam,
Yeah.
who, if that happens, would use Steam a lot more often, which would lead me to purchasing other things.
I see it like this. I'd rather find a way to do a paid app that will allow you to do that. So yeah, get that whole API integration
totally down
thing,
for
but
that
make it a paid thing. Like, that's what I would do. I would be talking to Microsoft. So like, how can we get this to be a paid integration? Like the same way they do with, if you want to have a Dolby Atmos or whatnot, that's something you pay for on Xbox. Unless you buy the headset that comes with the app, you have to buy that.
Yeah.
So I would see, if I were Valve, I would do something like that where it's a paid API integration to now, if you have it, if you have it on Game Pass, you can go ahead and download the Steam version. And like
I'm
you said,
totally
it'll
down
get
with
more people playing in Steam, but also it's giving me some kind of kickback. Like, that's
There's
what I
ways
would
of
imagine.
making that work without, the Game Pass app running natively in Proton. Is ultimately what we're trying
That's
to say.
true.
There are ways of doing this if the two companies want to do it.
Yeah.
I have to think. I mean, you saw Phil and like Matt Booty and Greenberg, like they all addressed the Steam Deck. Like the day it came out, I wasn't the only person. Like Game Pass Steam Deck was trending.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people I think out there. I think there's a good portion of people interested in the Steam Deck are Xbox fans that have always wanted that Xbox portable. Like this could be it. So I would like to see them work together. I would much rather see them work together than Xbox try to do something on their own.
Yeah, I don't see Xbox doing anything on their own. I mean, this already exists. Integration is probably way cheaper than the R&D of trying to figure out how to make our own handheld.
Plus, it fits their narrative. Like when they talk about wanting to put it on TVs and wanting to put it everywhere, like then like there's your chance.
Yep.
You know, like if Valve
put your
wants
money
to
where
play
your mouth
ball,
is.
you know, like here's your chance. Don't try to sell me a wholly completely different product if it can work right here. And I mean, it can. Like it has the cloud. It can always do the cloud stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hopefully,
Wonder how xCloud's gonna work on this thing. Like how well it's gonna do. And
yeah. I mean, it
see.
should with the browser. There's no processing. Like you
Yeah.
should be able to go right through the browser from SteamOS and just play it.
Yep, exactly. And that may be the other thing. They were like, well, we don't need to put it on there. You guys can use xCloud through the
That
browser.
is actually what I consider that would be my take, and that's probably what they're thinking, Microsoft. And I would like a little bit more than that, because they're probably also thinking like, how many of these people that are Game Pass members might just buy the game again? Like, how many of them might just buy a portable version of Halo?
Exactly. So it's
I will-
all kind of things. Yeah, I know you will.
I won't
Double
for
the
everything.
sales right there.
I won't for everything, but for certain things, would I? Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Especially if it
that's-
like cloud saved and all that. Like, I would.
Yeah, that's my biggest like thing that's stopping me from even considering this is the fact that like I could get all these games on Steam for like $5, but I already own them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Do I really want to
Yeah.
pay again just
See,
to
but
be
that's
able
a
to have
Switch
it
life.
in a
How
portable
many
thing?
times, Garrett? How many times have you and I
Yeah.
already done? We've done this plenty of times. It's not new to us.
I bought too many games on copy.
I bought so many of the same games, like just because they were on Switch. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, well, I'll
That's
get it
true.
on Switch because I want a portable version.
Yeah, you guys really live that portable life. Garrett's
We do.
whole life is portable at this point.
Hi.
And you sit in front of your TV and play portable. Like I
Yeah.
cannot do that. Like I
Sometimes it's just,
Just
not in the
doesn't
mood,
work
man.
for me.
Just want to curl up.
Dev, let's talk about Sony exclusives.
Yeah.
They're on Steam. They're gonna be
Yeah.
on this handheld.
You got a PlayStation now.
but here's the thing.
And
I
them releasing stuff on
already
Steam?
own them. I'm not gonna buy them again on Steam. It's just not really gonna
Well,
happen.
for
Especially
you.
for portable.
But
yeah.
for me,
Yeah,
I
for
just
you.
can't.
Or
I
for
can't wait.
PC-centric players that
Yeah.
like they
wanna
don't
play
wanna
handheld,
buy a
yeah.
PlayStation, but think they can have this opportunity
Mm-hmm.
at a cheap price. Again, let's bring it up. I mean, cheap-ish. $600 doesn't sound cheap for a console. $600 is super cheap for a PC.
Yeah,
if you're thinking
PC
about
players are
gaming
going
PC.
nuts
For a
right
game-
now.
For a
PC,
gaming
like-
PC. Let's put
Yeah.
that in
How much
context,
would a
'cause
gaming PC on par with the Steam Deck cost?
not a whole
Six hundred
lot.
$50.
Yeah.
So that would probably be the absolute bare minimum of a barely running PC. Like
Well, if
maybe
you look at the
2060.
specs- Yeah, if you look at the specs, like you would be able to get an AMD PC, a GPU, and a RAM for at that cost, probably cheaper, a little bit cheaper, and it'll run just as well as
You
this,
get a
probably
case
little
and a
bit better.
monitor and a
Yeah.
keyboard and a mouse, and you know that'd probably be the same price.
Yeah, it's definitely not portable. Dev, let me ask you this: as bringing like your PC fandom into here, do you think there'll be anybody out there? Like, do you think somebody out there looking for like entry level into PC? Maybe they can't get a GPU. Maybe they're looking at laptops. Like, does this fit for any of them?
It's hard to say. Like, it depends on whether or not you really want to play things portable. Like, if you're really good with having that portable device and that's where you want to play most of your games, absolutely. I think about somebody like Daniel D-High. You know what I'm saying? Like, this seems like something that would be perfect for him because he really is on the go and may want to be able to play Steam games and be able to have access to a larger library that are games that are better than what you would find on most handhelds.
Yeah.
So something like that for somebody who's looking to get into PC gaming at an entry level, but really is on the go more, this makes a lot of sense. And then, yeah, if you want, you can dock it down the road. And if you're somewhere you want to sit down and hook into your TV, you can. But if it's somebody who's really trying to get into PC gaming, unless they're really looking to be portable, I can't see them saying like, yeah, this is my in. I would imagine they'd still probably want to build a rig and try to go that route because that's going to be able to also give you the upgrade ability in case you want to go bigger. You want to go from 1080p to 1440p. You want to be able to go from 60 frames to 120 frames to 144 frames. I imagine if you're looking at a PC enthusiast who's looking to get into the PC building and modding and all of that stuff, I would imagine this wouldn't be the move.
No.
But if it's somebody who's just looking to be able to play PC games and they're more on the go with the option to dock, then yeah, this might be that thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So, few things to say. Let's talk about the layout of this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's one of the most unique button layout, controller stick layouts I've ever seen in a dock. And it's so wild. So they got the sticks kind of like inner and on top, right next to the button layouts on the outside.
Yep.
And that worries me a little bit.
All in a line at the very.
I don't like that. No. That's just a little weird to me.
It's different. It's foreign. It's definitely not what we've ever done.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah,
it.
And it's small.
It's kind of weird. I really want to feel it in my hand. So like, I'm trying to think. The Alienware that I picked up, it didn't have the stick. I think the sticks were offset. I don't think they were
Okay.
all in a row. But the form factor, like the size, was the same, and it didn't feel clunky or uncomfortable at all. So I imagine this thing probably doesn't feel as uncomfortable as we think. It's just something that
Yeah.
we're not used to,
Yeah.
and it looks strange. But I mean, you think about the fact that you're playing with controllers, and all of a sudden they put these sticks in the middle. Like, we adjusted. When you look at like the controller for the N64, that is a monstrosity looking thing, but we adjusted and found
didn't.
comfort in it.
I did not.
Even the GameCube controller, it's just weird looking, but
I
we
love
adjust
GameCube.
and you find comfort in it. So I imagine this will be kind of along the same lines.
As long as it's
It-
comfortable to hold.
Yeah. Okay. And I
think
saw
that-
them playing it, and they looked
Yeah.
really good.
I think the fact that it has like that curved grip and that like that ergonomic back pad that kind of sits in your palm, I think it's going to go a long way for this because you're not going to be holding like a thin piece of plastic like the Switch. Like this is going to sit in your hand. You know, it's going to your hand's going to wrap around it as opposed to just like sitting flat in your hand. You've tried
That's
to like,
true.
pressure with your fingertips or something. I don't think any of that's going to be there. Like the Vita, you know, like when you have the Vita, like you kind of have to. You know, like you kind of have to.
Kinda
I start doing
grip
this when I
around.
think of the Vita.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do this, whereas this is going to be like this.
It's just gonna
Yeah,
lay.
like
Yeah.
the back buttons are like the weirdest thing to me. Like thinking about having my hands up here, but the back buttons in the back. I just
They have two
I
back
wonder
buttons.
I wonder how that's gonna work. Like how many people are actually gonna use those?
I'm
And then the
but
touchpad, like just so odd to be able to have one stick here and then using the touchpad or the touchpad over
true.
here. Like it's just
can-
you've got so many controller options.
Those are the same touchpads from their Steam controller, and you
and
can
it's wild.
customize those like
Yeah.
to the nth degree. You can map all kinds of buttons to different sizes of it, so you can really take it however way you want. My biggest concern with the layout was, I wonder if there's a potential for like my thumb palm, like my thumb pad, to rest or activate those mouse pads. Like if I've got my fingers on the sticks, think like could I
Yeah.
lean into that mouse track?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Oh yeah, you could probably disable them in a video game though.
I would
if
hope
they,
so.
They slip. Yeah.
But the
Yeah.
layout of the sticks, you know, I only looked to the Wii U gamepad. I mean, I played with a very similar controller that had sticks in very similar ways. I do think, and I'm not trying to be a homer, I am trying to be optimistic, but I do think having less travel for the buttons, like basically just going here to here versus
That's true.
this, like what we normally do, or having to move and go like that to reach, I actually think this might be one of those things that once you put your hands on it, you might be like, oh, this makes more sense than we
it's
thought.
surprising.
It looks
Absolutely.
dumb, but it actually makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. That's exactly what I think.
If you think about all the PC games that are in there, right? We're not just talking about the console games. We're talking about real-time strategy games.
There's
we're
console
talking
games that don't even have controller support still on Steam
Right.
too.
So you got a lot of back buttons, you got a trackpad, you got to get like the right configuration in there so you can play
Yeah.
pretty much everything that you want. Okay, Hobie1K says it is going to feel like a Wii U gamepad, and let's admit it, that thing felt great. Sorry, this is like a 100% disagreement. The
Oh no,
Wii
I
U
love
gamepad,
the gamepad.
it's abysmal.
Oh,
I
that's
will
bad.
never. No,
I mean,
sorry.
it's like a Fisher Price toy. Don't get me wrong, but I always enjoyed playing on the gamepad. Well, it's like it's much lighter than it looks, but it's also like not because it's so
Right.
big. You know, like that's the thing that I think of all the things about this. Like it's like a pound. It's like way heavier than the Switch. This thing is
Oh,
like
it's gonna be
twice
way
in weight.
heavy,
Like it
yeah.
is, yeah, it's
It's gonna be a brick.
yeah, it's quite heavy. Like I said,
It's first gen.
You could fend off like an attacker from this. Like you could just pull this thing out and hit somebody with it if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Can't wait.
That was as a protection device.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever actually held the Wii U gamepad.
Oh really?
It's
I
really
don't think I
light.
ever had, because I don't remember us having a demo in Best Buy, like when I was running the
It
gaming
feels
department.
hollow.
I just
It's
don't
very
remember if I ever
hollow,
held
yeah.
one.
Yeah, it feels hollow. There's not a whole lot in there, but I do like the fact like it's ergonomic, and it has like a track. It has like a track along the back that kind of or at least for me, sits like on my middle fingers, if I'm recalling it correctly. It is ergonomic. One of the things that I've never liked about the Switch that I said the day we ever got a Switch, like day one Switch when I recorded that podcast, I hate that it's flat. It's just completely flat across the back, and it just doesn't, for whatever reason, with my hands and the way I hold stuff, it doesn't sit well. And it was the same way with 3DS. So like you get used to it, right? It's not all that in common. The Vita, you get used to it, but it's not like, that's why we have all these grips, these Satisfy grips, and all these different protectors and cases that can give you something you can grip actually and hold on to. You know, I'm happy to see that the Steam Deck has that, because if it's going to be that heavy, it has to, or like it'll kill your hands.
Every handheld I've ever had has always been flat.
Yeah,
I've only had like 3. So
Well, there you go.
the Game Boy Advance, and the PSP. That was it. All flat.
but even the Game Boy was like thick. You could wrap your hand around it. You know,
Yeah, I was little, so
Switch
I had
is
little baby
flat.
hands.
You know, it's like it's very flat.
Like the SP, that thing. Oh God, it's just super flat. I like when I pull that thing out now. I'm like, how did I ever play on this thing? It looks like it's the most uncomfortable thing to hold in your hands ever.
But it's like
Right.
a little mini computer.
But you get used to it, as Deb said.
Yeah.
You get used to it. If
You
the
adjust.
games are good enough, you'll just adapt to it.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. The last thing.
Speaking
All
of
right, go for
adapt,
it.
I just pre-ordered one. Just why not?
Did you really?
Yeah,
Oh, he's eating the hype.
Oh, dang.
and I went all the way big. $650. Why go $399 or $529 when you can go $650?
So let's talk about that. So there's been a lot of speculation about, apparently it has an M2 slot in it. What is yet to be confirmed by Valve is whether or not it's like soldered or it's accessible, and like whether or not you can put your own drive in this. Because I saw a lot of people are like, I'll just get the $400 one and I'll buy my own and I'll put it in there. Not a terrible theory in practice. However, that 2230 SSD that they're using for the M2 is pretty expensive. Like just a 1 terabyte one's $200. So you're going to be in $600 anyway.
Yeah.
And you like I hope you're really good at doing that, because this thing is really small and it's tightly packed, and you don't know like what's in there once you pull that. Like I would personally be very fearful of buying something with the intention of cracking it open to replace parts.
Me too.
I'd be like, ooh, I'll just buy the bigger one. Thanks.
See, that sounds like a dream come true for me. I can't wait to see the teardown videos, like the
I want to
iFixits
see it
and everything.
but I don't want.
And then I'm
going
gonna take it apart. I'm
No,
definitely gonna take it apart.
I'm like, what if my trackpads don't work and they don't go back together? Like, I've seen the insides of like a nice Ultrabook, like the way they can really cram some stuff in there. Like,
I've taken apart several.
yeah, that'd be a pain in the ass to try and put back together.
I mean, it's something that I've done all my life, is take apart small things and everything, repairs and all of that stuff. So for me, it's just another thing to take apart and see how it's all puts together. I look at it like Legos. Like, I'm just, okay, how does this fit and how does that go? Okay, let's play some Tetris and get it all in there. So I'm very curious to see how all it is packed in there. And I mean,
the
it's got to
IGN
be
video-
a lot of stuff packed in there tight.
The Valve folks made it sound like it wasn't upgradable,
Yeah, that's what
they
I
did
read.
it
too.
really
It seemed
doesn't.
like-
but they didn't say that you couldn't. And now they've updated their site to where they're like, it's not intended for user upgrade, which makes me think it's not soldered. Maybe the drive isn't soldered to the board. Like, if you wanted to take it completely apart, like, you probably could upgrade it if you really wanted to. Yeah.
They never said what kind of SSD or NVMe it is. We just know that it is that. Like the PlayStation one, it's an NVMe drive, but you can't remove it like at all. You're not taking that thing out. So I'm wondering if it's something similar to that,
It
or
might be.
whether it's actually an actual NVMe drive like that.
Yeah.
I feel like they can. I've seen some that are like half the size of the regular NVMe's. Like we have those in some of the laptops that we distribute for the city that I work in. So I have seen some really
one that-
really small NVMe drives.
Yeah, it's NVMe. It's
Yeah,
you can look it up.
but they have them in different sizes. Does it actually say which one it is?
It's the 2230 M2 NVMe drive. You can look them up. They're on Amazon. You can buy one. They're $15 for like a 100 gigabyte or whatever. But to get them like 500 or more, they don't sell them
Okay,
frequently.
yeah.
You have to buy
Oh.
them from like like a provider's warehouse. Like Dell has them. You can go to
Yeah, so
Dell's
these are the
website.
ones that this is exactly what we pull out of our laptops and desktops at work. Like these are the drives that I see all the time.
So you can go to Dell and you can get a 1 terabyte. I believe they're $200. That's like the only customer facing forward one that you can get. And then I don't know anything about the speeds or if there's custom or like all of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I have
That's
no
what I
idea,
wonder
like, how
if
that
they
works.
mentioned like which brand it was or who was doing the controller or anything.
They
haven't said
specifically
anything.
said that it's not something that customers can just buy because they were asked, like somebody asked them, I've been following their Reddit and somebody asked Steam and they're like, hey, can I replace this? And they're like, yeah, you can't just buy our M2 drives. Like they're not just available. You might be able to buy something similar, something that'll fit, but not the same one.
Yeah.
It's sounding more and more like we can't just go into this thing and just do whatever we want.
I'd be hesitant.
I'd be
Yeah.
very hesitant. Yeah.
I
And
mean,
if it's
I don't-
soldered, then you're just effed. Like then you just can't at all.
Yeah, I don't think you really have to. I mean, they said that it'll work with external drives as well. You can
Yep.
throw in an SD
true.
card, so you can get a really high speed like Gen 4
Yeah.
NVMe drive. Throw it in an enclosure and hook it up
With
USB-C
USB-C.
and be good
Yeah.
to go.
Yep. You can just like, and that's for anybody that's planning to dock, like at your gaming PC, if you're going to plan to play on a monitor, like that's a great way of kind of enhancing the storage is to pick up an external and running it off of there.
Yeah.
And then like you just move games that you want to take with you over to the drive. Yeah, that works.
Hopefully that's easy.
I've heard a lot of
Too.
people say they wanted that for Switch, that they wanted some sort of external storage that they could play certain games at home and then take certain games with them.
That would be very nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done that.
See.
But then again, they also
I'm
came
not.
out with just an OLED
Yeah,
Switch instead of a
I'm not
Super
surprised.
Switch.
Like the idea of letting people do that just screams like hacking for whatever reason to me. I'm like, yeah, that's an exploit that Nintendo doesn't want any part of.
They don't want anything.
So
Because all of a sudden I can see
Negotiator,
it now on eBay. You could just buy an SSD for $500, has every game on it. You just plug it into your
yep. So
Bye-bye,
Negotiator
Switch.
14 says, but bro, just use micro SD. Why make it complicated? The speed and performance
Speed.
of the NVMe outweighs the size and being able to put stuff on a micro SD. So for certain games, like sure, micro SD, but when you want to really get a something like a more newer next gen version of a game or whatnot that is really going to take advantage of that speed, then NVMe.
biggest downside is that this is not a Switch, it's not a console. Companies are not going to be making versions of games. These are just running PC versions of the game. So hopefully, maybe if this takes off in a major way, maybe certain devs start like releasing specific specs or downloads specific for this device, like maybe a profile. I don't know, like something.
I could see that.
It'd be nice
sure.
if it tailored the assets to the device, like you maybe cut the file size down a little or something.
Yeah, I definitely can imagine with as big as this thing seems that it will be, and it seems like it's kind of like the next thing for PC since, we're not having any other handhelds that are really taken off or garnered this much attention. I can imagine devs paying attention and being like, okay, we might be able to create a custom, download or whatnot for this that takes advantage of the capabilities of this the same way, you have presets for whatever you're running. Like they have in most games now, you can run a benchmark that'll look at your specs and be, okay, we're going to go ahead and optimize the game for you. I imagine them being able to do the same thing for something like this. Because why would I want to download like HD texture packs and stuff like that for a system that can only run at
720?
is looking at 720? Like I cut my file size down, go ahead and optimize the system for me so it actually runs at the very best that it can based on the specs of my system. Like we're
That'd be
at
nice.
that point where we can do that. But it's one of those things where just like being able to make all the games work on previous gen and this gen, it just takes time. It just takes developer time. So it's
I
just a
watched-
matter of they want to do that.
I watched somebody play Control today from a micro SD card. That they installed everything on it and then plugged into Steam.
Really?
On their computer. It wasn't bad. It really wasn't bad. I think the load times were like 3 seconds longer. So,
It's possible. It isn't like micro SD card speeds faster than a regular hard drive too, right? It's flash memory. So
Yeah.
Okay. So for indies, it should be okay.
Oh,
Oh,
Indies,
absolutely.
you would know the
Absolutely.
difference.
That'll be
Yeah.
my
No.
indie space. Actually,
it would only
That'll-
be for like your big new
AAA
AAA,
type games,
games,
yeah.
that are
Right.
depending on the SSD to run. Like they have it baked into the code. Like here's how our game runs.
Yep.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Okay.
I gotta wonder how long that'll take off, because if you're building PC games, like we still see games like
Yeah.
that aren't really taking advantage of SSDs or MVB because they know there's so many people
There's
that are
so many,
still
yeah.
running on older tech. Like if you go and look at Steam and you look at like the most used stuff, like the most used like resolution is still 1080p. So you're looking at people who have old computers. So most developers are like, we got to develop for like the lowest end.
And this is
then maybe
probably-
we'll start shifting.
I think this is better than most, actually. I think the benchmark, again, with the 720p target in mind,
Mm-hmm.
this is actually probably further advanced than definitely the average
Yeah.
by a large margin. So those are some of the things that give me hope that I think this thing will be pretty. I think you could buy one of these and be fairly confident that I think you'll at least get a console generation out of it. Probably 5 or 6 years.
Oh, yeah.
You'll probably play it fairly
Oh,
well.
yeah.
Fairly well.
Absolutely.
And even as that goes on, if you're okay with dipping down to 30, then you'll get even more life out of it. You know, that'll be the next big thing. If you
Yeah.
dip down to 30, I think this thing will play a lot of things at 30 for a while.
Don't do that.
Well,
And just like-
I'm not advocating that you do so. I'm just saying if
Yeah.
you wanted to, I think you get some life out of it.
I think what's great about PC though is that, you know, smaller games, they're going to run as optimized and the best they can on this handheld. So even these smaller, newer games coming out, they're going to run very nice. They're going to run
circles
60
around the
frames.
Switch.
Exactly.
Circles,
Yeah.
just absolute circles around the Switch.
It's going to look beautiful.
And wait till the mod community gets a hold of it and starts modding the games and making them even better. Like,
at,
done.
at 60% less the price,
mhm.
and probably 6 months sooner. You'll get the game 6 months sooner, half the price. It'll run better than it does on your Switch.
Yep.
Easily.
So this is going to be the thing that kills the Switch and makes it a seriously like first party only device.
For me, probably. For most people, no.
Most
I don't
likely.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I mean, as it is, my Switch is now only a first party device anyway. So that
If
won't
this
change
device
anything for
does
me.
exactly what I want it to do, if it is everything I want it to be, then it will. It'll actually put me squarely in the I only play my first party here, which I haven't been on with Nintendo since like the Wii.
Mm-hmm.
Like the last couple years of the Wii, I was basically only playing first party things. But like the Wii U, I played most of my indies on Wii U. I did the same thing on 3DS. I've done the same thing on Switch. And I imagine a lot of that business for me will move over to this if this works.
I would totally get Monster Hunter Stories 2 on Steam.
Oh yeah,
Oh God,
it'll
be
run
get
so much
run
better. Oh my
big,
god,
so
Yeah.
much better.
I
oh
can't
my
wait.
God.
I can't wait.
Negotiator says, "Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead."
I was gonna say all third party games are just gonna be better on the Stream Deck than they will be on the Switch. Just
Dying Light
Bar
got
none.
announced a report for Switch today, Dev.
why?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
These fools can't even put out the second game. Why are we?
the first game
bogging
still
them
doesn't
down.
run well. I put it on
Why
Twitter,
would
and
they-
I had several folks that were like, "I played it on PlayStation 4. It was fine." I'm like, if you say so, like, I mean, I realize that like we here on Game Tech probably be a little more aware or sensitive to that, but like it doesn't run fine.
No,
it has
it does
lots
not.
of FPS spikes. It has a lot of dynamic resolution. It has a lot of screen tearing. It always has. Like, there's a reason the Dying Light is one of the few games that I was like, man, I wish I had a really good PC because I could actually
Yeah.
tone this up a bit because
Yeah.
it has been rocky. It never got a Pro or an X
Nothing.
patch. It never got a next gen patch.
Didn't it
Here
get a
they are.
resolution boost
Nope.
or a frames boost?
It got a frames boost on Xbox, which doesn't lessen it doesn't lessen the resolution, which is great. Which means it runs at 60 now, like 900 to 1080 ish.
Ugh.
But it does run at 60. But like when you play it, it's like it's kind of blurry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's
You
so
notice the
snobby
jank.
of me to say it, but it's like that's just
You
where we
notice the
are
jank.
now. That's
Yeah.
where we are now. You can't go from Valhalla and then go play Dying Light 1. And then here they are. They're releasing for Switch.
I'm like, what are they thinking?
It's going to be like
Can we just
600p.
get part 2 out first, please, before you
what
guys
they're
go
thinking
trying to
of.
port this crap to the Switch?
And people are excited to buy it,
Jesus.
Dev.
They're
On
gonna
Twitter,
buy
like,
it.
I can't
So
wait
many
to get
people.
Dying Light.
Man.
Have you
Nintendo
ever played
people,
an
y'all
open
kill
world
me.
game on Switch? It's not good. It's so bad. Like everything not Skyrim is pretty awful on Switch. It's
And
just-
they're blindly buying this stuff.
yeah, they're like, give it to me, $60. Here you go, Techland.
Damn
Outer
it,
World,
Nintendo
sure.
people.
I'll have random assets
But
just pop
Dev,
into
they
my
have
game.
all the DLC. It's got all the DLC in it. What a deal!
What a deal.
God. It's gonna run like absolute garbage. I mean, it already
gross?
runs like
It
garbage.
already
How is
doesn't
how
run
is
well.
it gonna get worse?
Yeah, they should call
Jesus.
it demastered. They should call it Dying Light demastered.
Really, they should just demaster it. Make it a 16-bit version and call it a day.
I'll be down for that. A top
I would
down,
actually. Yeah, I would buy
16-bit game.
it. Should have a 16
Do
Right.
that, please. Like, God.
That sounds amazing. Let's see here. Negotiator says, is the deck what the Switch 2 should be at minimum in terms of spec? I guarantee you, I don't want to say guarantee, but I feel firmly confident that the Switch 2 won't match this in spec.
No.
No.
Not
Is
even
there
close.
gonna be a Switch 2?
I do think there will be. I think there will be. There are people that don't. I think there will be. I think whatever this DLS integrated Switch is, I think is the Switch 2. And because I do still believe those rumors. And if that's the case, then they're going to rely on DLSS to make up the performance gap. And
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to do the same, but raw output won't be close. Nintendo's not going to touch anything like that because it costs too much.
Yeah.
Like Valve is clearly eating a cost on the manufacturing of these, and
They
they're
are.
still selling at $600. Nintendo's not going to come at half that. You know, like 350 is like the top of the range for what Nintendo can launch. Like they're not going to touch that. Even 2 years from now, I don't think it'll be in their ballpark.
Nintendo is just gonna do what Nintendo does. That's
what they do.
Whatever the hell
Game
they
and
want.
Watch.
And they make money, so it doesn't matter to them.
Yeah,
No,
like they don't
not at
sell
all.
things at a loss. They don't sell premium tech that costs money. What they're going to do is they're going to take some old tech, like some DLSS on some custom processor, and take some old tech, like whatever the newest thing. Well, I guess the newest Shield is still running the Tegra, right? It's still the same one.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
never replaced it. So whatever the next generation of that is, it'll be 4 years old by the time we get a Switch 2. And they'll
Yep.
put some tensor cores in it that give them just the smidgen of DLSS. I still don't expect that DLSS to work as good as we, as good as we
It won't.
hope it will. It won't. And they'll
won't.
release that instead.
Yep, and they'll put Dying Light 2 on it, and the Nintendo people will eat
It'll
it
be
the
1080p
fuck up.
Dying Light 2 at 30. I mean,
Yes.
yeah, Nintendo just doesn't
Oh,
care about
jeez.
performance, especially not the cost of battery life. Like they're not going to run like this thing is going to have 2 hours of battery life. Nintendo would never. They will never.
Do you think they'll ever get back to making like an actual like
Console?
console, like sit in front of your TV console, or is this like what they're
Maybe
gonna do for now
one
in the
day,
hybrid
but
space?
I think the hybrid space is. I think the Switch's popularity has clearly resonated with like this is where they need to be, and I think it's probably more likely that they operate like that until streaming becomes a thing, as
Yeah.
opposed to going back to a core box. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think it doesn't sound crazy to me to think of them like they could have released like some sort of Apple TV like device with the Switch, and then like pair that with like a Switch Lite. Like not in the same bundle, but like just in kind of the family of products. Like I could very well see them be like, look, this little box that you plug into your TV at home, can run these games the best that they can run. And then if you want a portable, like we have a cheap solution for that as well. Because like, what would be the difference? Like you buy one of these little boxes for $200, you buy a Switch Lite for $200, or you buy one that does both for $350.
Right.
Like I wouldn't rule that out.
That would be a good
Yeah.
idea. Not a bad idea.
Yeah, like once they
There we
did
go.
the Switch Lite where it literally was just a portable, then I could see them doing like some sort of Apple TV thing that's literally just a desktop.
I still don't know why they didn't put the OLED screen in the damn Switch Lite.
I think that's
Money.
coming eventually.
Money.
Like, yeah. money
Switch Lite
feels-
OLED edition.
It's money.
Damn it,
That's what
Nintendo.
it is. It's money. It's like, why give it to them for $200 when we can get it for
350.
$350?
Yeah.
And they're not going to
And
raise the
then-
price because then it eats into their higher premium, model. All of a sudden, it cannibalizes those sales. So
How much is the Switch Lite?
$199 at
Okay,
retail.
so they're gonna release the Switch Lite OLED edition for $250.
Yeah,
or 300.
probably
Easily.
the same time that they announced the next generation of whatever to come in at a little higher than that. Yeah,
Yeah.
or phase
Sons
the old
of
one out.
bitches.
Yeah, they just phase out the old ones. We see
Gotta
the
love
200.
Nintendo.
We see the 200 and 299 go away, and it's just 250 and 350. And now they've effectively raised the price on the same hardware.
And Nintendo people buy it in droves. With
I bought one.
Dying Light 2.
I'm so excited to play Metroid on the OLED. It's gonna be great.
It's gonna look really nice. It's gonna
It
look
is.
really,
Yeah.
really nice. I'll never know.
Oh,
I'll
you'll
take
know.
your word for it.
Trust me, you'll know. I'll take so many photos.
Donnie is gonna have an entire photo roll dedicated to
I
the
I get
Switch
to
OLED
see
edition.
like tweets upon tweets of photos of Metroid Dread just like one night, and it's like, yeah, that's Donnie right there.
Yep.
It's like, look how bright and black it is, how dark it is.
The black levels, oh my god.
Now look at it on the TV, color splash.
Look how color it is.
Exactly. Oh no, I can't wait for it. I love it. I love it every time.
Oh man. It's good stuff.
But yeah, I'm very happy that Valve did this. I think Valve believes in handheld market and handheld space now more than ever. Seeing the Switch success and then seeing these other weird third-party vendors doing all their Steam and Windows, Android operation, they came in as like, we're gonna make a sensible product at a reasonable price for our audience, and let's see what shakes out in the first gen. I think they'll hit a couple of bugs for sure, but I think this is a very promising first gen of a handheld coming from Steam.
Absolutely. I think they
also
really took
think-
their time to put the thought into it to make it so
Yeah.
that it is going to be something that doesn't just die by the wayside like Steam boxes did. Plus, they're making it and not, putting it out to third parties to also do it. It's like, no, we're going to handle this in house and make sure we do it right.
And they did index. We gotta give them credit. Like,
Yes.
if you're gonna
Exactly.
kill them
Yeah.
for Steam machines, you gotta give them credit for index because that
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
took off. I actually think the rise in streaming, and I think you see more and more services tap into streaming. It's clearly showing that there's a market that's craving some sort of access when they're not at their PC. You see GeForce tapping into Steam and Xbox and Stadia, and as those, even if the users are small, it's still proof positive that there's a demand.
Yeah, absolutely. It's this thing has the potential to really be something special and a serious game changer in the terms of how people play games.
If it lands. Yeah. So some of the highlights, Valve said you'll be able to play your entire library on the Steam Deck, but that still remains to be seen because a lot of games are not currently compatible with Proton. They have a whole list there, and I think it's like only 60% of their games. Now, they said they're
Goodness.
working on it, and this new Proton stuff with Steam OS, like that's their new stuff. So it's completely built for this handheld. That's not currently what's being tested, so we don't know how much of that gap they've closed. But if it comes out and your entire Steam library is not compatible, that's a huge problem. Like that's a big deal.
That would no bueno.
Yeah, that's not good. They said they're working with the anti-cheat systems as well because that's another thing that doesn't currently work with Proton. So they're trying to work hand in hand with them to get it ready for Proton by launch.
Yeah, all those anti-cheat programs, BattleEye, the one
I
that is
hate
also on. Yeah, I can't stand those things.
Fortnite,
They cause so many
Apex.
problems.
Those are big deals.
Yeah,
So if they don't work with these things when they launch, like that's a huge issue.
yeah,
So that's got to be at the. I was actually happy that they addressed it. They took it on head on, and hopefully they get there. But that'll be something I'd be keeping a close eye on whether or not I go through with my pre-order. They're also looking to do cloud syncs. We talked about you can do any USB-C dock. They're going to release their own at a later date. I firmly believe that the reason why they don't have one is because they don't want you to dock it. Like it's portable and it's not going to, the performance dock's not going to be super great. So when you're talking about those reviews and those breakdowns, I imagine a lot of benchmarking when dock's not going to be, people are going to be like, this thing can't even hold up to 60 at 1080p. It's like, because it's really not meant
it's
to.
not meant for that. Yeah,
Right. It's really meant to as portable. And then, I think this is the next best talking point. Valve says that you can wipe SteamOS and install any operating system you prefer because it's just a PC. You can do whatever you want. So if those games aren't supported by Proton, if the anti-cheat doesn't come through, like you can wipe it and just put Windows on it, like we said, and just install Game Pass and install Epic and GOG and anything else that you want to do that you would do on your PC anyways. Like it just runs as a PC. And without the Proton layer, like you actually might see better performance for a lot of games because most games are built in Windows. They're not made to run in Linux. So it'll probably be, I imagine if I had to guess, I'd imagine it would be better. Now the downsides of that is you don't know how well the Steam Deck is going to be supported by Windows in terms of driver support for controllers, and adapters, and headsets, and so there's a downside
Gonna be
to you
messed
just
up.
running your own stuff. It may not just work the way that you think it'll work.
yeah. That's the biggest worry that I have with the wiping the OS is compatibility, drivers, updates, things of that nature. Like that could run into all kind of issues. But it may be a way to actually run games better. But it's just one of those things that's going to be remain to be seen. But you already know people are going to take this thing apart, run it through the ringer, and we'll know how well Windows runs and what the bugs and issues will be, and somebody will figure them out. So
Oh yeah, that's the best thing about it. I think for me is because you mentioned earlier in terms of emulation, I was in Garrett's DMs almost instantly because
Ready to go.
I mean, this thing could I think it is. It's going to be the best emulation machine that's ever been released. Like the fact that you could dock things and take it on the go, and it's a portable and has this kind of horsepower, and it's this open. This is the issue with the Xbox One. So Negotiator asks us if Microsoft should come out with a similar product. I do never like that idea because Microsoft would never come out with something so open to just run Windows. They would come out with some closed Xbox ecosystem like the Game Pass app that you couldn't operate out of. So that would kill a lot of the interest because part of the interest for me is Game Pass. Part of the interest for me is Steam. Part of the interest for me is ROMs and emulation. And Garrett, have you ever ran Batocera?
No, I haven't. I don't know.
Have you seen it?
No. I have not seen it. What is it?
So you Google Batocera, I think it's Batocera. It's a emulation machine.
Okay.
That I think it runs off of Arch, which is, and they actually
RetroArch, okay.
their company their company made a statement on the Reddit today that they're working to make sure that they're Steam Deck compatible before launch. It's a really nice, clean
Linux, yeah.
emulation software set that basically covers, I think, everything up to PS3. So you can have it all in one program. And because Steam said that you can launch from like the SD card, a lot of people are already speculating you could probably set something like this up or RetroArch or something on a separate micro SD. And just when you want to play those games, you plug it in and boot from there, and you're in. And then when you take it out, you're just back to your Steam OS device. So that's really nice. Like that's
no joke. I'm looking at batocera.org. It's Linux. It's a .linux file, so it's gonna work on SteamOS. I think almost.
So the emulation's gonna be crazy. Everybody's gonna be loading these things up with tons of emulating games. I already have a short list. I don't want a bunch. I have a short list of games that I'm trying to preserve, like trying to keep access to, that I would love to put.
Clock Tower,
Lollipop Chainsaw, absolutely. Like just some games
all the stuff that has not come forward, basically.
Exactly.
And all your golf games.
Golf, all my Hot Shots golf games. Yeah, exactly. I want to keep those around because I don't mind turning on my console to play something old. The problem is like when the console is so old that it's hard to get back to, or like you suffer for it. Some of the mods and stuff, some of these retro emulators, like what they can do with old games in terms of upscaling, that's the best way to play the game. That's the way the developer probably intended it. Yeah. So I'm doing.
They play them like you remember them. That's what it ends up being.
Yep.
It's like, this is what I remember. No, it's been brought forward.
And I never run emulators and stuff on my PC, and I think I've always just been kind of scared too, because I know a lot of times, like with ROMs and stuff, you can gunk up your computer, and I just never want to travel down that because this is like where I work. All my stuff is on it, like all my programs and everything. So I've never messed with my own computer, but the Steam Deck will be 100% dedicated to gaming. So it's like let's get it. I like the tinker in me wants to come out for this. It's like let's do it.
Yeah, I'm very that excites me because I'm like, dude, Donnie, you can do all this stuff, but you always be like, dude, you totally have the ability to tinker
up and restoring
and do all that,
my PC and all that, But with
that's the thing. Why do you think you'll break it? I run emulators and all that stuff all the time. It doesn't break. But then again, you have the luck where you will find the thing that will break the stuff. So never mind. Yeah. You definitely find ways to break every game you play. So,
dude, between Game Pass and Steam and emulation would be totally just a match made in heaven.
Yeah. And Epic, oh my gosh, I have so many free games from Epic and then Ubisoft you play. I got games everywhere, guys. I want them all in this handheld.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Is Garrett sounding robotic for you too?
I'm getting Robo Garrett. I heard you, Garrett. I made out what you said.
Yeah, we heard you.
I got
Thank
Robo
you.
Garrett.
We totally understood you. You just Robo Garrett. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Robo explosion. It's all good.
I like that. That's nice.
Oh man. Well, this is exciting times. We've got a brand new handheld that could be the next big thing and gets Donnie playing all the things on a PC. Look at that.
Where the
Who
hell
would
are
have
we?
thought?
2020,
thought?
man. 2021 hitting different, isn't it?
It's hidden
Wow.
very different.
Wow.
Oh man.
I flip-flop on whether I was going to get one or not, like all day. I was like, I want one to do all this, but I don't know if it can do it, but I want it to do it. And like Jeff was like, oh, it's going to do it. You know, I was talking to Jeff, and Jeff's like, oh, we're going to do everything on this damn thing. And I'm like, I'm in. Let's eat the hype. I'm in. I have zero. I can't afford this right now. Like, but I'm like, I want one. I want one.
Yeah.
Start saving today because it's going to be great. I'm going to put Silent Hill on it, Clock Tower, Fatal Frame.
All your oldies. This is going to be like your comfort
glorious.
food machine.
It is. That's
Oh,
exactly
man.
what I'm trying to set it up to do. And then I'll grab the occasional like free deal, you know, on Steam, like this super cheap game.
I have
do-
no idea what happened. It just froze on me.
I do wonder what'll. I wonder if it'll change my buying behaviors.
I think you'll end up buying more stuff because it'll be you'll be able to get so many things for like low cost.
But I'm wondering, like a
So-
third-party game. Like, okay, good example. Dying Light 2, bought an Xbox. Had this come out and was out earlier, like, would I have thought to buy that on Steam instead? Because I could play it on my portable, or I could play it at my console or my PC, which I don't do. But that brings me to the second thing: if I buy a Steam Deck and I like it, does it lead me to coming to dev eventually? And it's like, we need a PC to hook up to the TV at home. Like, I want to take it with me on the
Oh
go,
my
and I want to play it in 4K at home. Like, is that
What
where
did
we're
I
about to
tell
go?
you I wanted to happen? I said
might.
I want this thing to be the gateway drug that gets you into building a PC.
Because I'm not gonna buy two games like most of the time. I'm not gonna buy double the
Right.
game just to do it. Plus, I want it to synchronize. Like, I want it to save as I come and go. So like, if I start buying more games on Steam, does it lead me to doing that? It's like, let's get a machine that can run 4K here at home, and I'll just put it in a cubby. You know, like it'll go into this setup that I've got, and like it'll just run on my TV like my consoles do.
Yeah. It's very, very possible that we could do something like that. I mean, it's going to be an expensive ass machine if you want
It's
it
gonna
to
be
run
very,
4K.
very expensive. One.
If you want it to run
compared an
4K,
That'd be the only reason that I want to plug it up to the TV.
yeah.
Xbox. Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at a 3090, probably 5950X AMD. Like, you're looking at an expensive rig to really run 4K.
Really?
On the PC
that
side,
much
yeah.
expensive? Even with the Xbox
Yeah.
and PlayStation, it's so cheap, can still do it. Wow.
It's just like you can get like the 3080 and it does 4K, but it's really hard to get a solid 4K 60 with that. Like that's the
It
thing. Like,
is,
you're
yeah.
just hitting 60, you know. So and then if you're talking about ray tracing, oh, you can forget it. You're gonna get knocked down to 40, maybe 30 frames. So that's
Yeah, I
that's
get you.
the trade
I
off,
could care less.
especially on the bigger games.
It's
So
not
you
going to
won't-
be stable with a PC
Yeah.
compared to your Xbox.
Okay.
Because it's going to be running best
So then
on
maybe
Xbox.
not. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see. Who knows?
For me, I think like stuff like Dying Light 2 or like the bigger third-party AAA games, I'm not going to play really on the handheld. I would play on either a monitor or a TV. So I think of consoles. When I think of Steam and I think of handheld, I think of a different set of games for me. At least older games that I get on sale on Steam is like, hey, I want to try that out, and I buy it for like $5, like Skyrim or something like that. But I don't think of Steam of day one buy on Steam, at least for
I've got
me.
so many games like that on my Steam library. I've got 175 games
Yeah.
on Steam, and it's just because of that. I just pick up deals and discounts and old stuff.
Yeah, and that's where why my library
Batman's
is.
and Bioshocks and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
And you can
That's
play on
crazy.
handheld, much better.
Garrett, you can get those Final Fantasy remasters.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
that you
Those-
can.
those
And now
Pixel
they're on a
Masters.
console this way.
You want them on a portable?
You know what? And I
That's what you
also what I also really like that Nintendo just doesn't care about achievements. I get Steam achievements on this handheld device,
Oh, yeah,
and I
that's
like
right.
the little pop up. I like the little metagame going on. I would
you
I would
can
enjoy JRPGs with that.
Another one that I was thinking about, like the Grand Theft Auto remaster that they're going to do, like GTA 5.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something you think about getting on Steam Deck?
Mm.
You have a portable version of GTA 5. It's kind of awesome, isn't it?
I mean, I think you would already get the best version that you can get right now on GTA 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I don't know how
don't
much
really-
better it'll be on PS5 than
Yeah,
it is
I guess.
already
Okay,
on PC.
well, you can get the old version of GTA 5, and you still have GTA 5 on.
And it'll run really fine on
yeah,
the
and you
Steam
still
Deck.
have it
yeah.
on the portable. Like that's a pretty sweet deal.
That is a pretty
The
good
Switch
deal.
isn't doing that.
No.
No.
I could play Assassin's Creed, like the latest Valhalla,
Valhalla
on this
on the
thing.
go.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah,
That'd
be
it
great,
says
dude.
Steam Deck
This-
would be the best JRPG machine. I mean, that is. I
Oh,
said
it
that on
is.
Shaq. It feels like it's tailor made for somebody like Garrett. You
I
just get
can't
all
wait.
the Personas, all the Final Fantasies, all
Oh,
the
it's gonna look so good.
Atelier Rises, all of them. Just put them all on one machine.
Yeah, Shaq is gonna be just Rebecca. You guys are gonna be too busy playing.
We're going to be talking
Steam
about the
Deck.
games that she's playing on Nintendo, but we'll be talking about us playing them on our Steam Deck. We'll all be playing the same game. We'll just be playing them on different machines.
Interesting.
Yeah, man.
So-
This is- ugh.
When I dream
Garrett-
about this and speculate this more and more, I think about, okay, what are going to be the issues? What are going to be the problems in this system? We're not going to know until we get our hands on it.
Heat.
Battery life and heat. Yeah.
Battery life and
Almost.
heat, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Battery life's going to
Yeah.
suck. I can already tell. Like, battery life's just going to
I'm so used to it with my OG Switch. Like, sure. Okay, give me another handheld that goes for just an hour and just
The other thing would
dies.
be compatibility. Like, if they don't
Yep.
have, if all the games don't run and if they're not all there, like, if it's this bait and switch thing where it's like, you get it and it's like, well, 80% of your games on Steam run.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, don't do that.
But you
don't-
got to think like 80% of the games on Steam is just a shit ton.
Oh,
of
it
games.
is, but still,
So
like, you
You
don't-
gotta wonder like
but it's
those
about
20%, are those games anybody even plays?
it's about the narrative. You don't want to be in Stadia's ballpark when it comes to narrative. You don't want everybody talking about everything it can't do.
I don't even think that's possible at this point.
You hope.
Like,
You hope.
I mean, you'd have to have a lot of popular games to not be compatible to even be
I have a
compared
belief
to
that-
Stadia.
They wouldn't have said that it's going to run all your games if they didn't think it was going to run all your games.
Right.
That's some outlandish stuff to say. Like
That's a
right
good
now,
statement.
When Proton doesn't support it now, for you to say that makes me believe that they know a little bit more than we do.
The question is, how well does it run all your games? It can run them, but how well? That
Yeah,
could be
we're
the
gonna
other
get a
thing.
lot
Like,
of,
it could
like,
run some really.
Low settings
Jank.
at 30 FPS.
I think possibly for older games, maybe they're not compatible or not as compatible with Protons and like optimizing the settings on PC.
Sure.
Something like last gen, like 360 era.
I will tell you, if most of the titles only run at 30, then I think that'd be something that would make me back away from pre-ordering.
I don't think that's the case though. You saw
Neither
Doom
do I.
Eternal on 60
saw-
frames.
Jedi Fallen Order and Control, and those are beefy PC games.
Yeah.
And it was running them at medium to high settings at 60 frames a second. Like that's
Yep.
that's no slouch. Like that's a big deal.
That's
Yeah.
unbelievable.
And those games have a hard time running on good PCs.
I remember when
So,
Control came out and like Digital Foundry was
God, it
like
was a
Control
nightmare.
was killing PCs, man.
It was a nightmare. Even Jedi Fallen Order, like it took several patches for that game to actually run stable on PC.
Yeah.
Like, so to be able to come out the gate with both of those games running well at a solid 60, like that's saying something.
Yeah.
And just again, being able to run it at 800p with this hardware, like you're being able to run the games in such a better performance than you would typically see them at if you're just building, Joe Blow's PC. So
That's
I
the
think
first thing they do when they start lining up one of those unbelievable Switch ports. First thing they do is they cut the resolution in half. They cut the FPS in half. That's the first thing they do. Then they start cutting textures. They start cutting lighting. They start cutting shaders. There'll be none of that. It'll all
Yep.
be there, and we'll have the ability to customize. So if you want some more battery life and you want to tone down the picture or tone down the frames, like you'll have that option. It won't be locked for you.
yeah.
So
Don't turn down the frames. Turn down everything else, but not the
Yeah,
frames. Just
I'm with you there. It's gonna play Cyberpunk.
Oh, it's going to easily play Cyberpunk because
that's going to be the crazy thing. It's probably going to be the best place to play Cyberpunk Because
think
who
so?
knows
No
when the
joke.
next gen? Who knows when the next gen versions are coming out? So this might be the best place to play Cyberpunk.
You're true. So true.
God, Cyberpunk, just the worst.
What a mess.
It's
I
sad
still
because
haven't touched
apparently
it.
there's me either, but apparently there's a really good game there.
Yeah.
Apparently.
I don't know.
And I love
I already started
Witcher.
wishlisting stuff again. I put like
Through
30
Steam?
games on my wish list.
I can't wait to see you on the winter Steam sale. You're just gonna
Oh my
join us.
God.
He's gonna be the
Him and
leader.
the Steam sales is gonna be the oh my god.
gonna
Green
go
Man
nuts.
Gaming and
Think of the golf games.
oh man,
So many golf games, guys.
they're all gonna be on sale. They're always on sale on the holidays. So
Donnie's gonna start a whole new channel just dedicated to golf games on Steam.
Steam Deck, whole Steam Deck. That's the next thing. Game Tech Steam Deck. Just a weekly
Tech.
Steam Deck show.
That's what I titled this episode. It's Game Tech Steam Deck. Oh man. Yeah, I'm excited to see what it does. I mean, that's why I pre-order one. I'm excited for the tech just to see how it operates.
There's a big part of me that's just, and that's actually not why I was there for Steam Machine. Like I really wanted the Steam Machine. I wanted the deals at the time. I was doing mostly Nintendo stuff, and I was like, man, if they can get Steam to me in a way that isn't currently what Steam is, like I'm interested. And I actually liked my Steam Machine. I did a review. I'm not sure if you remember, Dev. I did a review for Married to the Games back in the day when I had my Steam Machine, and I talked about running emulators and all kinds of stuff you could do with it. Like I liked it for a while, but it just didn't keep up, and I was
Yeah.
having kind of issues and stuff with it. So
I never really understood the purpose of the Steam machine. It's like just buy a PC.
the big picture mode just sucked.
It,
Well,
it
'cause
still
that's what
sucks.
it was.
I
You
can't
wanted to-
Not
stand
good.
the big picture.
We wanted
mode.
a console, right? And like this looks so much better than big picture mode ever did, right? And it's unfair because, dude, Steam Machine was forever ago. Like they were trying to do something really hadn't been done yet. Now you see the OS for the Steam Deck, and you're like, this actually looks like something Netflix or somebody would prepare. Like they've kind of adopted. We figured this out by now. Like we've come far along that we've figured out how to do these little mobile libraries on the go. There's a lot of mobile UI design that have been learned since the Steam Machine.
They learned their lessons.
You hope.
Yeah. I mean, so far it looks like they did. So, oh man, December is going to be a fun time. It's going to be a real fun time to see everybody get their hands on it, to see all the different tech reviewers just break it down. And then we decide, do we keep our pre-orders?
Here's how to change the M2. Here's how you don't. Here's everything that's going to go involved. Here are the joysticks where they don't have to wear out and drift. There'll be a lot of that.
Dude, the whole drift thing. Like, really? This is where we went? We went straight to joystick drift? Like, that's what we're worried
Every
about
time
because the
anybody
Switch
sees
did
a
it?
joystick now.
I'm like, they all use the exact same tech. All of them.
By the way, I should have brought this up on Check. Did you see the fix for the Joy-Con drift that I shared in Check? Dev?
I did not.
So there's a video that got viral because this guy, it's like, here's the thing, the video is like 20 minutes long. It's like 17 minutes like experimentation theory, and then 3 minutes of like an actual fix. But like for the entire
It's
thing, he goes
ridiculous.
through and he basically cites what everybody has said about Joy-Con drift for the last 5 years. He's like, it's because the part wears and there's debris. And he's like, yeah, but when you spray the air in there, it doesn't fix it, so that's not it. And he's like, and it's about the actuators. And he's like, well, if you do this, like that's not it. He just kind of keeps going through about what it is and what it isn't. And then he has a drifting stick that he shows you. And he's like, what I realize is if I just press really hard on the plastic, the drift goes away. And what he's found out is that as he's used it for so long, that the prongs on the bottom of the joystick that hold it in place have stretched. So now there is some space that wasn't necessarily there before. So it's having a hard time reading against the pressure. He literally took like a business card and cut a piece of paper and put it in there and put this thing back together. It's fixed. Like he shows it to you live. He's like, that's it. He's like, you just need to put some pressure against it and it'll start reading again. He's like, because the pressure of the way that module is designed or engineered is there's supposed to be pressure in there. So as that ball starts to rotate, if there is any debris in there, it should push it out of the way. It shouldn't roll over top of it or, miss anything. It should be because it needs that pressure. And it was the most scientific, like I'm compelled to just I wish I had a Joy-Con that was drifting. I wish I could test it. I was like, this is genius. Like he's actually correct.
You
And it
already
just
said
makes
it worked.
Yeah,
he
like
used it.
it should yarded.
Yeah, Yarded said it worked.
So like Nintendo could literally fix this by either like just making a slight adaptation to their back mold that just pushes a little more and just has a little more push on the back of that, or they could literally just like start putting pieces of cardboard in the
They should have just keep doing that.
Wow.
I'll do it with this and see how it goes.
So it's not necessarily the Joy-Con. Like it's just like
Yeah.
that little part. It might just be more of an engineering thing as opposed to the actual stick
Yeah.
that everybody thinks is bad. Because the stick has wear, but it's meant to withstand that. It's meant to get through that for years.
Damn
right, then.
joystick drift. Well, there it is. Hopefully, they figured that out, the engineering problem, and we'll get that so we don't have to worry about joystick drift anymore.
Does it also make you wonder, like, if it's like there's a part of it that thinks it's true? Because I could see all these class action lawsuits and everything, and somebody coming to Nintendo and they're like, "Damn it, fix it!" And they're like looking at it and they're pulling all the wires and everything, and it's like the fix is so simple, like it's right in front of you. It's like we just need a little bit more padding behind the joystick. We're talking millimeters, like just
Right.
anybody got a business card? Like fold that in half and let's put that right there and close it back up, and we're good to go.
It's like the Microsoft Red Ring of Death. It was like you just needed a couple of extra washers and you'd have been all right.
Yeah, better soldering.
Man. Yeah. Well, those one of your problems you might run into. You run into joystick drift along with some heat issues, compatibility stuff. But I think for the long term, I think this thing has the potential to be great. And I don't think the problems that we are going to run into, because there will always be problems, are going to derail it, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
So
One of the things that made me keep my pre-order was like just the faith that they'll fix it. Like they'll figure it out. Like when you see what mods do with games
Oh,
or
yeah.
with Steam or with emulators, like they're gonna fix this real quick. Whatever it is, I have no doubt in my mind that there isn't a team of devout fans that'll have a fix for it, like lickety split.
yeah,
I-
kind of like that Resident Evil fix, like the Resident Evil 8 where they got rid
Yeah.
of
The DRM.
DRM and the game runs so much better. It's
Yep.
like mods. Thank you. You guys are a godsend
We're not gonna have to be
PC gaming.
stuck. I was thinking like we're not gonna have to be stuck with like the Vita OS forever.
Oh yeah.
Because like if the Steam OS doesn't work, do you know how many people will make like a front end
Hundreds.
WebKit that just runs on top of Steam OS? You can theme it however you want. They'll just do it themselves. They're like, well,
Yep.
we'll fix it for Valve, and then Valve will
That-
take them and pay them for it. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, cool, you're hired.
Yep.
Thanks, you fixed it.
That is truly the one beauty of PC gaming is like there's just people out here that love the stuff and will just go ahead and find ways to fix things. You don't have to wait on, you may not have to wait on a patch or anything like that. There's just some dude out there who said, you know what? I can fix this. Here's some code, boom, boom, done, fixed. Where you don't get that on like the console space. So that's another leg
Yeah.
up that this thing has.
That's something else I'm thinking about, like with the Linux compatibility with the Game Pass app and Proton. Like if Xbox doesn't do it and Valve doesn't do it,
Someone will.
like I kind of feel like somebody will. Like somebody's
Oh, yeah.
somebody's going to release something that you can put on a flash drive and plug into your Steam Deck that makes it work.
Oh, for sure.
I'm almost certain of it.
Oh,
Like, it's
yeah.
definitely going to happen.
Yeah, it'll
can't
happen
wait.
relatively quick too. That's the funny part. Like
It'll be like a month.
yeah.
You'll see it. Something.
You want to run Game? It'll be all those YouTubers, right? They'll all go up. You want to run Game Pass in your Steam Deck? Here's how. It's gonna be a thing.
Yep.
Pretty much.
The evolution of this thing is gonna happen so fast. It's gonna be so crazy to see Steam Deck 6 months from launch. Like how many different iterations and things it's gonna change it, and then
The
just
Switch
what Valve
emulation,
has
folks?
planned for it itself.
Yeah.
Wait for the Switch emulation folks to be like, "Oh, you think you're playing Breath of the Wild 2? Let's show you how real Breath of the Wild 2 is supposed to run." Like that's
Oh
gonna
my
happen a lot.
God.
There's gonna be a lot of
Yeah.
that.
Donnie's gonna not even play a Switch. He's gonna find a way to play all the Switch
No,
games.
see, I would probably still play Switch, but because I tried that with Garrett. I tried jumping into all that, and it's kind of a mess. It's a buggy mess.
It
but,
is a mess on
but
PC.
if you're willing to go through it, it can yield production. But like that's not enough for me. I'm not doing all that just to play a game I can buy and play.
That's true.
But there will be that.
Yes,
That will,
it
I
will
almost
exist.
feel like every bad port will have a. But here's what it could be. Like that's going to just be more of a thing going on. Over here on Steam Deck, you can run it like this. Here's what it looks like. You know, like that's going to be a thing.
You would think these developers would just start hiring these folks. Like,
I think there's just so many teams and so
Some
many
of them
people
do.
doing this. Yeah,
Some of them do.
that's true.
Yeah.
So
oh man, here it goes right here.
Yeah. They'll mod Zelda in. You can just play as Zelda. I mean, Breath of the Wild on
man.
PC is nuts. It looks so good.
I have it now, the recent version, and it doesn't do the load shaders stuff anymore. It's
that's
just
great.
perfectly smooth, and I'm just
Oh,
like
really?
gushing over it. Yeah,
That was
have
my
to send
issue.
that
Every
to me.
time I moved, the world
it'll
had to
pause
cache in all of its
right?
asset.
Yeah.
So it was like constantly like stopping and going. I was like, who's playing this?
You sure you weren't playing that on the Switch that way? You sure that wasn't the Switch version?
Was it just buffering like that?
The Switch version, they like just blur all the assets. Just like motion blur on top of it. They're like, it's artistic. It's an artistic choice. It's
Oh, my
painterly.
God. Oh god.
It's an art style dev, okay? The 30 frames per second, that's an art style.
Filmic.
Yeah, we want the cinematic view.
filmic.
No, get that out of here. I'm not watching a movie. I'm playing a game here, sir. Ugh. All right. Well, I got nothing else for this thing. I've pre-ordered one now. I've eaten the hype.
Cool.
I'm excited to see the tech. Anything
do it
else you
together.
guys wanna add?
Play Hot Shots Golf together.
I'm not playing Hot Shots Golf.
Damn it.
Just you can gift that to us. You can gift it through Steam. You can
Is
gift
it on
it.
Steam?
That would need an emulator.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I don't
Oh,
think Hot Shots
sorry.
Golf is on Steam.
I'm
I'll just
saying-
buy you a different golf game. We'll
Yeah,
play
I'm
it
saying
together.
any Steam golf game or whatever, you
Dude.
can gift it to us. Yeah.
PGA Tour 2K
Yeah.
is gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Like on
you know what's
Switch
sad? I have
or on
PGA.
Steam Deck.
I have that game,
On
but it's
PC?
not crossplay.
It's not
I have it
crossplay.
on PS5.
Yeah.
It's not crossplay. I'm just like,
Yeah.
why? Come on.
It's great
Oh,
on
man.
series consoles, and it sucks on Switch.
This may solve the whole crossplay issue also,
That's true.
because everything kind of crossplays with PC. So
But nothing with anything else. Yep.
exactly. It's, oh
Yep.
man. Can you imagine if this thing runs Fortnite super well? All the kids asking for one of these for Christmas
Oh, parents aren't
or
ready for that.
Roblox.
Well, Fortnite's epic, so it'll be a little bit of finagling. Yeah.
If it can run the Epic Store, I've got so many games. That'll make me really happy because that's where
That'll
my
make me
library
really
is.
happy
I've
too,
just
yeah.
got a shit ton of Epic games. I've got like 15 games on Steam, maybe. Everything
That's
is
it?
on Epic.
Really?
Yeah, because the games that I played were always stuck behind, like, for example, most of the games I played were by Activision Blizzard. So, like, Diablos, and
Right.
World of Warcrafts, Call of Duties, none of those are on Steam. They're all from Blizzard. Then, like, the EA games that I played, I bought them from the EA site, from Origin. And then all of my, like, Uplay games, I bought from Ubisoft. Like, I didn't buy a lot of the PC games that I have directly on Steam because they were in other storefronts. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing that kind of makes me like, I need them to link all the stuff so I can play
Connect
where my
everything
library's at. Yeah.
GOG, where are you
'Cause-
at?
'Cause, yeah, I don't have a lot of games on Steam. And like I said earlier, like just because I can get it for $7, if I already own it, I'm not gonna rebuy it. I'm just not.
I'm looking at my Steam library right now. I'm gonna.
I have 226 games in my Steam library,
That is ridiculous.
and I even play PC.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that is absolutely nonsensical.
Mm-hmm.
I've got
I got 125 games.
I'm trying to find.
I've got 25 games. Half of them were those weird Sega games that weren't actual games. And for games that I
Free
actually
ones.
paid for was like 2 games. The rest of them I got like free codes or whatnot.
Got Doki Doki Literature Club. I need to play
You
that
would.
on the Steam
You
Deck.
would.
All right.
I've got.
Amazing writing.
My Epic library, however, ridiculous.
about
There's over
50 games
100
on Epic.
games. I've
Yeah,
got like
50.
100 and something just from all the free ones.
Yeah, there's so
Yeah.
many free games on
I
that
don't.
thing.
I don't claim them all. I only claim the ones that I actually have any interest in.
What I like
just claim
about
them.
Steam
I have
as well-
GTA 5 on Epic.
Yeah.
So then
forgot about that.
you've got the PC port. You've got
Wow.
the next gen
Just-
version.
Just play that on Steam Deck.
Yeah, I've
That
got
would be
all the
great.
Borderland games. I've got all
That
the
actually might
Assassin's
be the
Creed games.
first game that I try
all
to
the
play.
Batman games.
Borderlands?
Steam Deck. It's GTA 5. Like,
GTA
what is
5.
portable GTA 5? That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Control Ultimate Edition was free on Steam.
That's
it
true.
wasn't. The regular version was, but I bought Control on Steam. I'm not Steam. I bought Control on Epic. So that's where I have that game. So again,
Wait, it was
not a
free
game
on
Steam.
Epic. Yeah,
Yeah, but I bought it there when it dropped.
I see.
Yeah, my Epic library is just stupid.
And Steam goes way back. There's so many old games on here too, and there's so many packages in Steam sales that involve older games. It's great. Oh my gosh, I really
Like this
have-
may be like the budget gamer's dream, the Steam Deck, because of the fact that there's so many games that are so inexpensive. Like you have freaking everything.
I got Neo. I'm gonna play that first on Steam Deck. Is Neo? I want to see how that works.
So will this cause you to get rid of all your other tiny little emulation machines that you have?
No, I love my tiny emulations machines.
Yeah, now
What
he
are you
now he
talking
just
about?
needs a shelf.
Are they? I'm saying they're just gonna collect dust on the shelf, right?
No, when I travel, I'm gonna bring like a separate suitcase that has all my crap in it: my Vita, my 3DS, my Pocket 2, and then a Steam Deck. And I'm good to go with 3 external batteries.
Why do you need all of that?
I'm thinking of Garrett with like a trench coat full of portables. He just
What are you
rips
buying?
it
You-
open.
What are you buying?
What are you buying?
Pick your poison. Dev, Far Cry 5 on a portable.
Yeah,
You'll
60
never-
frames.
You'll never play anything else. You'll be stuck in Far Cry 5 forever.
I'll just be playing a bunch of old ass games.
Isn't that what you do now?
Sort of. It's not wrong.
Japanese games too on Steam.
Yeah, Robo
Damn it,
Garrett.
Garrett. Robo Garrett is back. See, I wonder if this would have happened in OBS. I don't know.
We don't
I
know.
don't know.
We don't know if it's Melon's fault or somebody else's fault. I've changed my entire internet out, so like it's not my fault.
Well, you're good.
That's good.
Yeah, you sound great. You look great. Everything's a-okay. What is that flag you have hanging underneath the No More Heroes 3? Because I noticed that I don't remember seeing that before.
That is the Santa Destroy flag. The setting for No More Heroes. It's like a Tarantino spin on like LA.
Got it.
Are you
Got
going to get
it.
No More Heroes?
I looked at videos and I just don't know.
Have you ever played one?
I have not.
Do you like Kill
not.
Bill?
I do like Kill Bill.
It's basically Kill Bill, the video game, with like some anime.
The combat didn't look like something I would enjoy though. Like the way
Attack
the
and
combat was, it looked like there was a little bit more to it than that. I'll have to look at another video
Really?
game because
No,
I
it's
definitely.
it's hack and
When I
slash.
saw your hype level, I was like, okay, all right. Let me go ahead and check out No More Heroes 3 for Donnie and see if this may be something
Speaking
that I
of games,
might
I'm going to buy
actually
on
be
Steam.
into.
I'm buying these on Steam. I'm going to play them even better. I'm going to play them all over again.
I'm surprised you don't already have them on Steam.
Yeah, I don't want to just rebuy games just because. Like, that's just a waste of money. But I have wishlisted them all, and I'm waiting for like a sale.
Just
When they
waiting.
all go on sale, then I'll buy them all.
Winter
again.
sale.
Yeah. Robo
You're
Garrett's
still
back.
Robo Garrett.
Super Robo Garrett.
I blame your internet, sir.
It's evolving. It's getting stronger.
Guys.
Like he froze like this. You see?
Yeah, he just pulled his hair out. So good. All right, well, let's get into these questions and let's get out of here. How does that sound?
Let's do it.
All right. So at Negotiator, he said, if Microsoft came out with a similar product, would it have been more impactful or convinced those who are in the middle?
Yeah, I mean, I've already said my thoughts, so I'll just be
Yeah.
real quick. I don't think Microsoft would be nearly as open, which means I think it would appeal to much less people. I also think Microsoft wouldn't do this. Like, they would tack this on to like a Surface or something. It would be very expensive and like bougie because that's like what they do with their tablets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I also just don't think it fits. Like, Xbox right now is trying to make consoles. I can't make another pillar and support that too. Like they're trying to make consoles, and like Series S already has its own hoops that you have to jump through to do it.
Yeah.
Plus streaming, like they're good. They don't need to do this. Just partner with Valve and work with them with Game Pass on that.
Yeah. It doesn't feel like it makes any sense to me. Like there's already portables that exist that you could just throw Game Pass on.
Yep.
Just stream it
play
through
through the browser.
xCloud.
Yeah.
It's like, why would we create a device when all of these devices already exist? Our thing is we're trying to get you the Xbox games. We're trying to get you into Game Pass. We're trying to get you into xCloud. And there's already a myriad of devices that do that. Why should we make one? So
Yeah.
as Garrett holds up his blurry RoboPhone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think it would do anything to anybody. They'd be like, what is this? Why?
And I don't think they can sell. I mean, they're not Nintendo.
Yeah.
They're not even PlayStation in that regard. And PlayStation had a hard time moving Vitas, and Vita had all the tech in the world, and it's still a hard time moving.
Yep.
And I do think there's people out there that would love to buy an Xbox portable, but I don't think they're out there in droves. I don't think there's 50 million of those people out there. I think it's more like a 10 or 15
Nate and Coach Mo.
hardcore. Like I would buy one. I'd be very interested in buying one, but I'd much rather buy this because this has other applications. It's more than just that. That's what makes this exciting is that I can do I'm thinking of doing 10 different things with this and Game Pass. That's why I'm excited for this. That's where something like a Switch or a Vita or like they're so singularly focused. It's going to be hard to do that, especially if you don't have anything that's driving people to do that.
Yeah.
You know, because like if you're going to put the power in it that it needs to run Halo Infinite, then it's going to cost more than your console.
Bingo.
And you can't do that. You can't sacrifice your console sales. And if you're going to make it so cheap and budget that it's like a glorified streamer and it's $250, you know, like you're already there. Like you have your Series S, like it's not going to be powerful enough to keep up. Like, yeah, it just doesn't fit their business model.
Yeah, not at all. It doesn't. Just doesn't. So, sorry, negotiator. Yeah, no, I don't think it would move anybody to do it. It just doesn't fit their business model. Doesn't really make any sense.
I think that's why you saw Sony. They don't do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like they're even interested in trying.
It really doesn't.
No,
It really
Sony's
doesn't.
done.
Yeah. And I mean, if the Steam Deck, I keep calling it Stream Deck. If the Steam Deck can run PS Now, then there's and it runs your PC games that we're putting on Sony's putting on PC.
I'm going to buy Horizon for Steam Deck.
It's gonna be awesome too.
Yeah, hell yeah, it is.
Get on
Finally.
sale for like $20. Like
Yep.
it's gonna be super cheap during that time. So
Yeah.
can't wait.
It took them forever to get it to run well on PC, but by the time it comes to the deck, it'll be fine. It's God.
It took a good while.
It took a while. Yeah. All right. So this last question is going to take us into a whole different segment.
Oh yeah.
Hobie1K, he says, I've recently been looking into RGB lighting for my gaming and media space. I would love to have all my lighting, lamp, bulbs, LED strips, PC accessories, etc. connected and controllable by one source. Do you all have your lighting connected into one controller, or is everything independent? What kind of lighting devices and brands do you recommend? So, for those of you who didn't see it, Donnie created this whole awesome game space where he's got lights in all of his cubbies and everything on display, and it is quite incredible. It is
beautiful.
like what you want to have when you create a game space. You want to be able to do something like that. It is awesome. Myself, I only have lights in my PC. I don't have any LED strips or anything like that, but all of my stuff runs through the Corsair, what the heck is it called?
Yeah, what is it
IQ system. So I run all of my stuff through IQ, so I'm able to control it all through there. If I were to get some LED lights, Corsair does have an LED light strip that I could add around here and would also be able to control through the IQ software. But when it comes to adding lights like bulbs or anything like that, you won't be able to control your PC and the lights and everything. So that would be two separate things. But Donnie, what all did you get to go into your amazing game space?
All my lights are battery operated. I specifically wanted to find battery operated ones because I took some photos and it's just a avalanche of wires back there, and I didn't want to have to mess with something else. It's just a lot to. I've got like 8 consoles hooked up to the TV. I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I didn't expect that it would be like the way that it is. Like, I never expected it would look like it does now. Like when I first started ripping it apart, I didn't have like a plan. I just kind of had like a loose idea for what I wanted to do with it. I definitely want to do the cubbies. So I just got I got 4 cubbies from Walmart. They're $60 each. I turned one sideways, put the TV on it, put the other ones up, put all the consoles in each cubby, wired them, and then didn't plug any of the wires in. Basically just put all the wires down and kind of led them where they wanted to go, and then bundled them together, basically in that direction. Plugged them all in, got a switcher. So I only have 4 ports on the TV, so I had to get a switcher. So I added 4 more ports to get a switcher for all my old stuff, soundbar. But the lights, the LED part, I definitely wanted. I was buying stuff and kind of giving, and Dev knows I had Garrett, I did a diagram in PowerPoint. Where I made like boxes, and I was like, here's how I'm going to lay everything out. And put
a rough idea of what he wants.
Yeah.
It goes very distant.
Well, because I had to measure. Like I had to make sure it fit. That was the first part. So I was measuring, and then once I got it laid out and started putting them up, Dev was like, next you need LEDs. And like my response to Dev was a picture of my Amazon order. I had already bought them. I was like, I'm way ahead of you.
You were ready to go.
Because once I got the cubbies up and got the consoles in, then the brain started going. I was like, I could light these cubbies up. I could turn these things. I could get my other collector's editions from the attic again. We can do a lot more to this. But I specifically was like, battery power, because they're not going to run all the time. Battery power for me made a lot more sense, because I just get like a wireless one with a remote, which is what I got. And I may want to set them differently or give them a theme or whatever. But ultimately, it was just wire management. I just didn't want more wires. You can, like if you do that system that Dev's got, or like a Philips Hue system you can plug stuff into, they're really expensive. I got my LED pucks for $16 for 6. And about 3 packs of them. So I'm in it for like $40, and you'd be hard pressed to do that. Plus, they offset the TV. My TV has the Dream Color stuff where it matches whatever's on the screen and accents to the screen. So with them combined with that, it makes a beautiful thing. I mean, I've shared a lot of photos, which you guys have already mentioned. I've shared just a ton. Like sitting down to play a game right now is just a treat, especially at nighttime when I turn everything off and just turn everything on. My daughter had friends over for the first time since COVID, like almost 2 years now. Spend the weekend, and they came downstairs, and they were just like, it was really cool. They opened the door, and she's like, so this is my dad's gaming space. And they walk in, they're like, whoa, you're like, look at this. You're like, that was so cool. And then I turned the lights on, and they were like, whoa. like they were saying that before the lights came on, and then I turned the lights on, and they really loved it. So and it was nice. It's exciting, and it looks great like when I'm watching movies and everything. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. I got the I think they're Better Homes and Garden cubbies. It's like I wanted to buy like an actual TV center, like a wall entertainment center. They're like $2,000. So I ended up settling on these. These were like 60 each, so what's like $400.
You got more than enough space for you, more than enough boost to fill up everything.
I have a couple cubbies that are free, but I have collector's editions that are on the way. So I still have my Dying Light 2 on the way. I have my Scott Pilgrim KO edition on the way. I have my No More Heroes 3 on the way. So I've got a few cubbies, but they're already kind of spoken for. And then there's more room. Like if I wanted to make more room, there's more room. Speaking of wire management, I did get the little, the little drawers that you put in the cubbies, and I put them all along the bottom. Got those off of Amazon. They're like, I think you get a pack of 6 for like $15. So they're super cheap. Because the console, so like my Wii U is modded. My Switch has the M Classic plus like the Joy-Con adapters. My Xbox is like, it's got the SSD and the external hard drive and the light. It's got a lot of things plugged into it. I think it's got a USB hub. I got a lot of things that are plugged into these consoles. So what I did to save myself on the wires is I made them all nice. And then before I pushed it back against the wall, I just pulled some of those drawers out and I just dropped everything in the drawers because I'm not putting anything in there. Like I don't have massive amounts of physical games and controllers and everything, so there's not a lot of stuff in there anyway. So I just dropped them all in there nicely. Like I wrapped them together with my Velcro ties, and I just lowered them all in those drawers and pushed them and just pushed the whole thing back against the wall. You can pull them out like there's enough slack.
You hear that, Garrett? You can have nice cable management. That's all I'm saying.
Oof.
I don't have drawers at the bottom though.
But like, and even when I didn't, my cables were really nice. Like, I got
bet.
channels. Like Dev pointed me to some
Yep.
channels. I got channels. I got Velcro ties. I did as much as I could. I will tell you, it was a pretty daunting task for a minute.
I
there.
bet.
There's
bet.
just a lot of cables because it's like you've got an HDMI cord for every machine. You've got a power cord for every machine. Most of those machines have some sort of drive or USB thing attached to them for every machine. Controller cables for every machine, lights, like just a lot of cables go back there. The speakers, the USB, the subwoofer,
Yeah.
everything else. So it was a lot.
I bet.
So I'm by no means a professional, but I think the way that I went about it made a lot of sense. I just kind of laid everything out in the direction that it was going to go. I also bought a 24 outlet ground power strip.
Yes.
Nice.
So that helped out a lot. Because every one of those power cables, I basically just ran through the channels and laid them on the floor, and I laid them in the order that they would plug into it based on like how far away they were. So the
Oh,
ones
yeah.
that were the furthest, I moved them to the sides and everything. So it was very, very simple. Right before we pushed it back, like we got it really close to the wall, and then just at the bottom before the cubbies were there, we literally just went through the cubbies and plugged them all in, just right down the line. They were all in a row,
Nice.
just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So
Still think
And
you
it-
should have just mounted it to the wall.
why?
Just cause.
That's so much work.
Just cause.
It's
two
unnecessary.
screws. It's two
Plus, all the
screws.
cables drop down to the floor anyway. It doesn't need to
No,
go
no,
up.
like mount it right there above like the
Just
molding on the
barely
bottom.
above the floor. Why?
Yeah,
Like, now,
why
what
not?
purpose does that serve?
Because you can get a little bit closer to the wall.
No, it's
Oh
plenty
my
close.
gosh.
That's so dumb. It's so close. It's plenty close to the wall as it is.
Have you thought
Okay.
about mounting the TV on the wall at all? Maybe give yourself a little bit more space to put something underneath.
I thought about it. My walls are not like super great. Not all of them, and like there's like a makeshift closet behind this when they finished it. So it's not like a load bearing wall. I thought about it, I did, but I like one of the things that I didn't expect that I did enjoy is the tall bookshelves, the vertical ones, are basically right at the exact same height that the TV is.
Yeah.
So like when you look at it, it looks like it was almost like built for that. Like it's like almost
Yeah, it
right
looks really
around.
nice.
Like it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
go
very-
above it
Symmetrical.
or below. Yeah, like it kind of keeps that straight line across the top. So I kind of like it the way that it is.
Nice.
Who knows? Maybe one day.
Yeah, once I evict my kids out of this space because they won't be homeschooled anymore, I have plans.
God of War, dude. I was playing God of War 3 Remastered on it, and it was blowing my freaking mind. With all
Nice.
my lights and everything turned on. I mean, I sent that picture before I tweeted it out. People may have seen it. I think it's the pin profile pic now on Twitter. But before I sent it to Dev because I'd done all this work, and it took days. We were talking. I didn't. You know what? Because you were asking me about the lights, I didn't even think about telling him. So my old TV just sat on an old dresser. I had an old dresser down here. It was not old, but like we bought this bedroom set when we moved in and had this dresser. And the reason it was down here is because we left it here when we moved upstairs because we moved rooms years ago. And it's too heavy to carry. Like, to be quite frank, it's just too big. So I was like, leave it here and I'll put my TV on it. So that dresser served as my closet, really. I had all my clothes in it for a long time. So when I sold my car and I decided, all right, I'm going to do this. I'm going to remake my gaming room. Because you guys see, I've got my canvases, I've done my shelves, I've built like these memorials, I've got my horror shelf, I've got my skateboards. Like I've started to build this basement all the way around. And I still had this dresser with these consoles sitting on and everything. And then next to the dresser were like these plastic bins that didn't even match. And they were different heights. You know, like the same color, but they were different. So it was very like ad hoc. And I was like, this is just not very good. So I sold my car. I didn't want to, but I basically had to make ends meet after the air conditioner. And I was like, I'm going to take a little bit of this money. I'm not just going to blow it all on my credit card bill, which would it's responsible, but I just don't like doing that in life. I was like, let's take a little bit. Let's make a little fun. So I took $400 and I bought the bookshelves. But like I had to get rid of like 10 bags of clothes. I had to move that dresser upstairs, which means it replaced the dresser that was there. So I had to move that one out to the garage. So like I had a hand truck and I had to walk the dresser like out the yard all the way up the hill and everything. Make
This
sure the
sounds like a
kids
nightmare.
help me. Oh, I was pouring sweat. And then once I cleared the wall, and Dev knows because like I decided I was going to do it. And I did it that
turned
night. Like
into
I
a
was done it.
whole
Like,
thing.
yeah, I'd done it. It was like 2:00 that night. I had the floor and the wall cleared. It took me all day long and night. And then the next day the bookshelves came and I put them together and we put them in. But actually, as I had it cleared, I also painted the floor. So I have like this garage, like tack, like paint on the ground because it's concrete. It's concrete basement. You know, so and like dogs have been running over it for years and everything. So, you know, it's kind of scuffed up, kind of scratched and faded and everything. So I had extra paint. So I painted the floor too. I was like, well, we're here. We've already cleared the floor. Like, you might as well, like, if you're going to paint, now's the time to paint. So I painted. And then, yeah, I just, put all the furniture together and started putting it together. One thing that I didn't do, if anybody's hearing this and they're thinking about doing it, one piece of advice, I wish I had fastened the bookshelves together on the back before I slid them against the wall.
Yeah.
They're all separate. So, like, if I've tried to push them together as far as I can, but, like, if you're really close, you'll see there's some separation between the shelves that honestly just a quick clamp or, you know, an L bracket. I could have tied them all together. Now, I was kicking myself for not doing that, but a few days later, the switcher came late. So I had wired everything how I thought I wanted the switcher, and then when I put the switcher down, I was literally just seeing too many cables like below my TV. So I decided to move the switcher. And I will say, like, mounting all of the bookcases together would have made it significantly harder to pull it away from the wall and get behind it and rewire everything. Because then you'd have to pull the whole thing apart as opposed to just exposing one to give you like some access. So there's some pros and cons to that, but in hindsight, I think I would have liked to have, if I had everything done at the same time, I would have liked to have done that.
Sounds
Very
like a
nice.
good deal.
It's a pain in the ass when we get new consoles and it's like, uh-oh.
What are you gonna do?
Not
get
really.
back there.
You just move one,
The
swap one out
360
here.
is real easy. I can pull the 360, pull the power cable, and like just use the same HDMI cord, and there's an outlet right there. So like I can put another one in there super fast. Now to pull,
I was surprised your
PlayStation and the Series
360
X and
was
stuff,
still there.
NCAA football, baby.
It's not backwards compatible?
Nope.
There's some games that are still just not
NCAA
accessible.
football. I can only play it on PS3 and 360. I mean, I can play on my Vita, but nobody wants to do that. I can play on my Wii U, but nobody wants to play that version either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I still play my 360. I played this week. Still play it because of NCAA football.
Nice.
Like I said, that's kind of what you do is play old games.
I got one spot that I can really put in there, but when the day comes that I have to replace the PlayStation or the Series X or something, then that's going to be a feat because all those cables are bundled together. So like to pull the cable, I'm going to have to unbundle them all, pull the cables and put them all back together.
And then you'll end up doing something else.
Yeah.
No,
Because you're back
it's never just one thing. It's like, oh, well, I'm
Can you
here.
just do this thing
Yeah,
and
here
then the
now.
next thing?
Go ahead.
That'll be the time where I fasten all the bookshelves together. Well,
No
we're
joke.
here.
Wow.
We've done it. Might as well keep going.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Hobie, he just got some cheap pucks. But if you want like a full like system, you're looking at probably like the Philips Hue.
Those are like $300.
They are expensive, but if
Yeah.
you want something that you tie everything in together that you can control with like one remote, then you're looking at something like that. The Govee systems are also really nice. And for PC stuff, Corsair probably has the best
Corsair is
lighting,
good.
all around because they have so many different peripherals that actually have light. They have light strips, they have light bars, they've got these other these other lighting strips that are kind of like what you would put on the back of a TV instead of the
Yeah.
individual like lights. They have full strips. So yeah, that if you're looking to do your PC as well as like the rest of the stuff for your consoles and your TV and your whole entertainment system, you're looking at just a smorgasbord of different like things. It's going to be really hard to integrate everything together. Because I can't think. You know what? You might be able to integrate most stuff if it has PC app through like Stream Deck and be able to control everything from there because you can customize those buttons to do pretty much anything. So.
Sure.
That's probably your best bet for that.
Pretty much. Dev, I'm just letting you know the wiring is going to be almost non-existent when I move.
God damn it, Garrett.
I think I need to sell my PC.
I mean, you're gonna sell it. We already know this is gonna happen.
I think I'm going to sell it.
You got the Steam Deck.
I got the Steam Deck, and I'm going to get a good laptop that's
There
going
you
to play all my good games on PC on a
Yeah.
nice monitor. So
So you're
Yeah.
buying 2 PCs. Dev loves you twice as much. Double the
basically,
I'll love him if he gets his cable management together.
the cable management is not going to be
what
there.
cables?
Exactly.
For
What
your, for your
cables?
consoles. For your consoles. Those better be nice too, buddy.
Oh, when I move, yes.
I'm
can't.
all for the
I
world
actually
shaming
can't wait.
people for bad cable management.
I really
I
can't
can't
wait.
help it. Yeah. It's gonna be good times.
That's the best thing
Times.
about like when you move and you go somewhere new is you have it's like the perfect opportunity
Blank
to
slate.
start fresh.
You got a blank canvas
And you
right
can
there.
just do it the right way. Because I understand like when you're already in a space and you don't want to have to move everything around, it's a pain in the ass. Like you have a brand new place, it's like before you even start putting in the furniture, like start laying out your stuff and the cables and everything so you can have it all ready to go and just set it down on top of things as things come in.
Yep. Yep.
There you go.
All right. That's going to do it for episode 15 of Game Tech. We hope you guys learned something new or got excited for a new piece of tech like I did and went ahead and pre-ordered some things.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just want to give a huge shout out to our patrons at the producer level, Mr. Michael Masick, Edwin Callow, Stephen Keller, Nick Creature, Ben Moxham, Nick Fall Harbor, Paul Calico, Kyle Heyman, myself, Josh Bonesaw Bourbon, RJ Kern, Horse Girl 69, Zach Adams, and Joe Wilson. Thank you guys so much for your patronage. We really appreciate it. What's that, Donnie? You said
I was wanting to double check and make sure you got all the new folks. Have we updated that?
I did. Yeah, that's the
Thank
same
you.
one I read off for.
I was trying to get there.
Oh, good. So yeah, please feel free to follow us at Game Tech Pod on Twitter and tune into all things PSVG at the psvg.blog. And with that, may all your K's and P's be bright, your frames glorious, and your flops powerful. We are out of here. If I can find the video.